everybody. Welcome, everybody. My name is Sue Duran. I'm the Senior Career Services Advisor here for Bowman College, and I'm so excited that this is number 2 for Miss Laura Waldo, our NANP Legislative Chair. She is here to do a wonderful presentation on laws and legislature. And close that. Sorry. And we're going to go ahead and get her started. I think there will be a time that we'll have some questions if we have anything. But in the meantime, if there are questions, we can use the raise hands version on the screen, or we can write a question into the chat room and I will help you, Laura, with that. Okay. And I say, let's get started and welcome everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever we are. I am Laura Waldo. I am the Legislative Affairs Specialist for the National Association of Nutrition Professionals. I am also a practitioner. So when you have questions, don't worry about what you're asking. I know more than legislation, thankfully. I am board certified in holistic nutrition, so I'll probably be able to keep up with you. I hope. Hope I'm not too rusty. At any rate, we're going to get started. I'm going to leave plenty of time for questions and answers. So ping Sue, put them in the chat, do whatever you need to, and I'll make sure that we address everything. So today we're going to talk about practicing after graduation and what you need to know to keep yourself safe, what you need to know when you graduate, how to work properly, and stay in your lane as a holistic nutrition professional. So again, Laura Waldo, NTP, BCHN. I've been with the NANP since 2019 as their legislative affairs specialist, and I am a one-man show or one-woman show. I am not a lawyer. I am not a CPA. So if you have questions of the legal nature, I'm going to refer you to a lawyer in your state. So we're going to talk about scope of practice, which I know you're being taught about in your coursework. We're going to talk about the difference between a license and the certification. We're going to talk about the difference in scope of practice between consulting versus coaching. And we're going to talk about working with people who are not physically located in your state. We refer to those people as distance clients. I'm going to tell you a little bit about board certification and why becoming board certified in holistic nutrition is helpful for you as a practitioner. And I'm going to kind of go through the interactive legislative affairs map, and then we'll get to all the good stuff, all the questions that you have today. So what is scope of practice? So the scope of practice defines the responsibilities and sets guidelines that determine what's permissible for you to do and not to do. Specifically in the healthcare sector, but in many cases, what we see is the scope of practice varies from state to state. So we can't make that blanket statement. Yeah, you can work in this state and do whatever you want to do, because the scope of practice varies from each state. So then we hear medical nutrition therapy frequently. Do you practice medical nutrition therapy? Do you take insurance? The answer is always no. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, unless you're a registered dietitian or in some states, a certified nutrition specialist, you are not practicing medical nutrition therapy, because medical nutrition therapy is the provision of nutrition care services to treat or manage a disease or medical condition. And as you all know, managing or treating is well outside of our scope of practice. We make recommendations, we make suggestions, and we provide information on healthy lifestyles to our clients, but we never, ever step over that line and diagnose, treat, heal, cure our clients. So again, things that we need to remember when we're talking to clients, and it does get confusing, but we want to make sure that we use the right verbiage, the right terminology. So as a holistic nutrition professional, we recommend, we suggest, we support, we're going to guide our clients, and we're going to say things like studies have shown or research supports. And one thing that I always recommend, have handouts for your clients. Show them those studies, show them those research. Um, it's very easy to do. You can curate as you get more accomplished in your practice, but these are things that I've done over the years, and my clients are so grateful. They take these studies, they take this research to their licensed medical provider and say, you know, my nutritional therapy practitioner said this, do you agree? The latest study shows this, do you agree? And they come back, and oftentimes, guess what that leads to? That leads to a relationship with that licensed medical provider, who then continues to support you by referring their patients to your client base. So always support, guide, recommend, suggest, and have those handouts ready. So what we do not do is outside of our scope of practice, and our scope of practice means we do not diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, prescribe, heal, manage, or mitigate any disease in our clients. So there's confusion about what is a credential. And so the credential is a document or a verification process, and that's going to detail the person's qualifications, their experience, their competence. And that's issued to each person by a third party. So for instance, the NANP has the Holistic Nutrition Credentialing Board. They are a third party. It's not affiliated with the NANP, and they provide the BCHN board certified in holistic nutrition credential. So we also find that in many cases, universities and academic degrees are also credentialed. And then we get into licensure, which again can be confusing because we're looking at each state as an individual state, and licensure requirements vary from state to state. So when we're looking at a license, it's issued by the state, sometimes by the Board of Health in that state, and that grants somebody the permission to engage in the activity that they're being licensed for. So for instance, a registered dietitian has to be licensed in the state in order to see clients in that state. So you mean it's requiring a graduation certificate, it's requiring certification in a national organization. It requires oftentimes a specified amount of training after graduation, and you have to write and then pass a practical exam, and you must also participate in continuing education. So a person who is not licensed and performs work in a state that requires a license can be charged with a misdemeanor. Each state has their own setup for what type of misdemeanor that is. Can be a misdemeanor A to a misdemeanor C, but it can also mean jail time and daily fines. So we're looking at $1,000, $5,000 if you say, oh yeah, I'm a dietitian, or I'm a certified nutritionist or licensed nutritionist. You don't want to do that. So make it very clear on your waiver and disclaimer, you are not licensed. And so then we get into the certification. So that's our credential. Sue, you guys provide a certification, is that correct? Okay, so that just verifies the legitimacy and your competence as a graduate from Bowman College. And it tells people that you have met a specific criteria to graduate. So they know that you've been awarded, you've passed your exams, you've taken all of the assessments, and that it's administered by those professionals. So once you graduate, you have successfully completed your program and you have completed a certificate program. And this is the physical, your little certificate is the physical representation that you have fulfilled the requirements of the program. This one I get a lot, folks, so I want to take a moment. Nutrition consultants do not provide health coaching. The two near should meet, and I'm going to explain why. So if you're a nutritional consultant, you're trained in holistic nutrition to use evidence and science-based education to help people one-on-one. A health coach cannot do that. A health coach cannot make recommendations. They can only guide their folks where they are. Sorry about that. So the scope of practice that you have is completely different than a health coach. So we don't want to mix apples and oranges in this case. A health coach can guide somebody to what they feel is best for them. A holistic nutrition professional is trained to provide expert recommendations and suggestions and can, in most cases, individualize dietary recommendation, supplement recommendations, but a health coach cannot. When you mix the two, you're now crossing the border. And so you don't want to call yourself a health coach and make recommendations for diet, and you don't want to call yourself a health coach and make recommendations for supplements, because that's outside the scope of practice. And again, it can be considered a misdemeanor. So we hear about telehealth a lot, and I've worked with telehealth experts, and we finally came up with the appropriate verbiage when we're working over state lines. Unless you're licensed, this is what you're going to do. You're going to call your clients, distance clients. You're going to make sure that you've got a waiver and a disclaimer signed, making sure that your client understands you are not licensed in their state or in any state. And then you should be able to work within our scope of practice. I always recommend that you find any time that you're working outside your scope, or if the client is having health issues that are outside of your scope, that you refer to a licensed medical provider. As you graduate, you'll start working on getting to know people in different states, work to get connected with licensed providers in states where you're going to be working so that you can refer a client if necessary, or make sure that they are going with your recommendations to their licensed provider. And again, this is why having those handouts is so important. You can send that handout to your client and say, this is what I'm seeing, and can you get your licensed provider to approve my recommendations? And most often they will. Board certified in holistic nutrition. So why is this important? When you're board certified, you have to earn continuing education, which keeps you up to date on all evidence-based nutrition. So that shows not only your clients, but it shows our legislators that you care and that you are trying to stay current by keeping those continuing educations going. You have to go through a credentialing process. So that's going to include not just taking the board exam, but the credentialing process. You've got to provide 500 hours. You're going to have to go through a background check, just like a licensed provider would. So it gives your clients a sense of security, and it tells our legislators across the United States that we're committed to providing solid information and assistance to our clients. And one of the reasons that this is so important is the NANP had the foresight to have the BCHN, Board Certified in Holistic Nutrition, federally trademarked. So in 2019, we saw the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics start to remove all of our titles, is the best way to put it. So there were about 7 titles from our member schools that were stricken. And the state accepted that. And as is now law, you cannot use those titles. They cannot take BCHN away from you. Even if a law changes in a state, BCHN is federally trademarked, and I have now had that written into all legislation. So across the board, any state where there's going to be a change in the law, it now states there is nothing in this law to prevent you from using your federally trademarked earned credential. And this is what the map looks like. So you guys can see the exclusive scope of practice states. Those are our most restrictive states. And then we have our title protection states. Each state is a little bit different in how they protect titles. So this map is available on the NANP website. So, and it is interactive. So if you're in a state and you're not sure, take a look. There's a nice synopsis, and it tells you what titles are forbidden to be used. And then we have our no law or certification states. So places like Pennsylvania, California, Arizona, Colorado, these are all no law certification states. And that means you can work within your scope of practice. Always use your title that you've earned on your certificate to prevent any confusion to your clients. And I want to talk a little bit about what happened this past legislation. This legislative session was busier than I have ever seen. So we had legislation in Colorado and Georgia and Massachusetts, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, West Virginia, Arizona, Montana, and we squeaked another couple in there, but none of those really had any impact for holistic nutrition professionals. This is going to become standard fare. But what you need to know is the NANP is here, I'm here, and I am aware of any legislation that's brought forward, and I'm working to protect your right to practice. I have written exemption language. I have talked to legislators in every single state to let them know who we are, who you are, what you do, but most importantly, what you do not do. You don't practice medical nutrition therapy. I've talked to them and educated them about how we help our clients. And I've talked to them about the board exam. They are all very supportive. Georgia, we're going to go one more time. We're going to get it through next year. But Georgia, I've been working on for 4 years. The only reason the bill did not pass is the Georgia legislature, the Senate, decided to say, we're tired, we're going home. So there's this little term that they use called sign die, SINEDIE. And sign die means we're done, end of session. So they called sign die about 4.5 hours too early. And we did not get the final read by the Georgia Senate. Otherwise, we would have turned Georgia from an exclusive scope of practice state to a title protection state. We would have had full access to work within our scope of practice. So I'm not giving up, guys. If anybody out there is from Georgia or thinking about Georgia, I'll be there. I'll be there. We're going to get it done. So anytime you have any questions, go out to the NANP website. You'll see the legislative affairs section. Go to that map. All of our members, contact me if you've got any questions, if you need assistance. That's what I'm here for. So, reminder, think before you speak, think before you write notes to your client. We support, this may benefit, studies have shown, use all those good words. Self-audit your literature, self-audit your website, or get somebody else to give you a hand and look at it to make sure you are not using words like healing, preventing, treating, curing, diagnosing, managing when it comes to a disease state. I see it often. I do go out, and when I have a free moment, I look at people's websites and I write to them and say, your homepage, not in scope of practice. You might want to make some changes, because if you think that I'm the only one looking at it, you're wrong. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics looks at it. Naturopaths will be looking at it. The State Board of Health will be looking at it. So just make sure you do a self-audit or get somebody else to look at it. Members can contact me as well if you've got a website, and I'll take a look at it. There's no charge. So I'm harping on this. I know, Sue, I'm harping on this. I just want to make sure that everybody's working within their scope. They're providing documentation to their clients. Share firsthand success stories with your clients. That is so helpful. It makes them feel like you hear them. And part of what we do is we listen as we're doing our assessment. We need to hear what they're saying. So share firsthand success stories, whether they be your success story or another client's success story, obviously without giving out personally identifiable information. Make sure your consent forms are signed. Make sure that you've got a waiver and disclaimer on file, whether that be an electronic version or a paper version. Remember to follow industry best practices for controlling that information. You don't want anybody walking in to your office and opening your file cabinet and seeing somebody's personal material. So if you have a file cabinet, lock it up. If you have a computer, lock it up. And then always, always defer and refer your clients if they're outside of your scope of practice and they need licensed medical practitioners to work with them. So I am going to unshare my screen, and I'm excited to answer your questions.
There's anybody out there, please use the raise hand method or just say, hey, I have a question.
Hey, I have a question.
Hey, I'm so excited.
Hi, Sue. Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for that information. It's very helpful. And please excuse my background noise. I have a grandson here, and
That's okay. I choked on my water, so we're even.
okay. Thank you. Just a quick question. What are the rules with quoting on your website? So let's say, even if it could be something like Hippocrates, your health, your food, let that food be thy medicine. Are there any rules to that? And as far as putting noting research that where you're getting your information, what are the rules to that for your website?
So with your website, obviously, if Hippocrates said it, you want to make sure that you put that down. So people don't think you said that. So always give credit where credit is due. And when it comes to research, always cite, and you know how to cite. Some places like PubMed will give you the citation and you can copy and paste that into the website. So that's very, very helpful. If it's just a doctor that you've spoken to, you can ask. A lot of times there will be information saying you can't disseminate this publication, this study, this material without permission. And I will tell you from experience that most often, if you go to the person who produced the study, the data, they're very willing to share without a fee.
Okay, thank you. Is that the same for books too?
It is the same for books. Always
Okay.
make sure that you are properly citing.
Okay.
And if you don't know how to properly cite, tools like Grammarly will help you cite that publication. They will give you the exact citation.
Or I'll just go back to my paperwork when I was in when I was in school.
Exactly. You want to cite those studies. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Laura. Appreciate it.
And Pam, I'm always happy to take a look at it as well if you need another set of eyes on that, okay?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I will send it your way. Thank you so much, Sue.
You're very welcome. Looks like we have Amy Stevens. I have a question.
Amy,
Hi, good afternoon.
good afternoon.
So I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to formulate this into a question. I live in Florida, and I, for some reason, was under the assumption, uh, probably because I just didn't understand it. And now that I'm here, I'm understanding a little bit more, but perhaps you can explain a little bit more than what I'm understanding. I actually am guilty. I'm one of the guilty ones that was calling myself a health coach because I was under the assumption I wasn't allowed to use anything nutrition in my wordage because of Florida. I actually was hesitant to do the board certification because I didn't realize that that was protected, because I was like, well, what good is it if they're not going to let me say I'm a board certified holistic nutritionist? So I know that's not really a question, but
No, let me walk you through what's going on. So Florida does have an unusual law, but never fear. I'm going to try to get that changed next year. So I'm looking for a little help from my friends in Florida. So Florida, as you know, but the others may not, is restrictive in a way because the way the law was written, it states if somebody has a medical disease or if somebody's been under the care of a doctor, you can't legally work with them, which makes no sense. How many people are completely healthy that are going to come and see you? So that is what I'm working on changing in Florida. And it will just include our entire scope of practice. Now, if you go and you sit for the board exam, you can use that title. It is
okay.
trademarked. They're not going to prevent you from using that title. So you refer to yourself as a board. I'm Amy Stevens. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition, but don't call yourself a health coach.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So what I do, if you're in Florida, you ask somebody, are you currently under the care of a licensed medical provider? And if they say no, have you been diagnosed with any medical condition? Do you have type 2 diabetes? to, are you taking metformin, that kind of thing, kind of guide that. And then
Mhm.
try to back off of them unless their doctor is willing to work with you. And you can just say, in the state of Florida, it's difficult for me to work right now under the current law. But if your doctor approves, I'd be happy to help you with nutrition recommendations.
Okay.
Okay, and that leads
Yes,
then
thank
to
you.
that conversation with a licensed medical provider who sees how successful you are, and then we'll probably refer more patients.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
It's a win. The law is a negative, but we're going to change that.
Okay. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
No problem.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'm just gonna go down the list here. We have Sandy and then Tonya.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I have a question for you in regards to trying to find like legal advice within my area. I'm in the Massachusetts area that works, mostly with like health coaches, nutritionists in order to go about like applying for my LLC because I see so many resources is free, and I'm a little skeptical, so I just would prefer to go on the direction of legal advice as opposed to just finding something on the web that is free. So I'm just a little bit leery with that.
I understand, and you should be. So when you're going to set up your LLC, you're going to go to the state website.
Okay.
And the state website will walk you through how to set up your LLC, and it's going to take you to the State Corporation Commission so that you can get your title and your business entity set up, and it's going to contain the links to follow for the IRS paperwork as well. So you go to the state website and you even type in, I'm not sure how Massachusetts is set up. It's been a couple of years since I've looked, but you'll type in starting an LLC.
Okay.
Take you to that. It's going to walk you through step by step. You don't have to pay a lawyer to do it. They'll charge you hundreds of dollars. And I know you're a smart cookie and you can do it probably in 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll go to the state's website. So try to avoid all of those ads I see that comes up on the website. Oh,
Yes,
free.
everybody needs to avoid the ads because the state website makes it so easy to just get everything done in one sitting. And it really is very simple to set up your LLC with the state.
Perfect. And one more quick question.
Sure.
What is the difference between like the nutrition consultant and the holistic nutrition? Does it vary after you take the board exam that you can be then consider yourself a holistic nutrition, and if you don't take the board exam, then you keep the title as nutrition consultant?
So you're a nutrition consultant. We're all holistic nutrition professionals when we graduate. We're just one big happy family. But when you sit for the board, that's just one step up. So
Okay.
that's that third party credential. So if you're looking at your business card, you would be Sandy, nutrition consultant or NC, comma, board certified in holistic nutrition or
Got it.
CHN, which is federally trademarked. So it's a circle with the R in it.
Okay.
So you just get another title and you can choose the title that you like to use. You
Got it.
can certainly refer to yourself as a nutrition consultant and then tell your clients, I'm also board certified in holistic nutrition.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
And thank you for working so hard for us. I surely appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you, Sandy, and it's good to see you.
You too.
Tonya Best.
Hi, thank you. Sorry for the blocked background. I'm just in a public spot right now. But I wanted to ask, what if you have also done a health coaching certification? Should you refer to yourself as a holistic nutrition consultant, or should you how would I do that? I'm in North Carolina now, if that matters.
Yeah, you do have, North Carolina is another state that we're looking at. for
Yeah, I
next
went
year.
from Florida to North Carolina. I didn't do well.
Okay. Um, you can work within your scope of practice, but I think when it comes, here's the delineator.
Mhm.
If you're calling yourself a health coach and you're doing health coaching, that's one thing. But as a health coach, you can't make dietary recommendations or recommendations for supplementation or use all of the skills that you're being taught at Bowman. So if you want to see health coaching clients and just do that, that's fine. If you also want to see your nutrition consultant clients, then they're going to be separate.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Just trying to
I was
keep you
kind of
safe.
thinking to do the nutrition consultant part only, but then I wasn't sure because when I first got my foot in the door, it was with health coaching.
Yeah, so now you moved up and now you can be a nutrition consultant. And also, as we all do, we're all providing a little bit of coaching, a little bit of support to our clients.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Tanya. Good to see you too. We have Samantha.
Yes, sorry. So I feel like this, I don't know, the answer might already be obvious, but I really don't want it to be the answer. I don't want the answer to be no, but I fear that it is. But basically, I feel like it's so important for people to know that these chronic health conditions can be reversed through nutrition and lifestyle recommendations. We all, I know multiple people who've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and then reversed it and gone off of their medication. And so I've kind of like have front loaded that. And on my website, I say helping people. I say something about reversing chronic health conditions. That's not a cure, that's not a treatment, but I
But
don't
it
know.
is, it is. So you're going to need to rework that. What state are you in, Samantha?
I'm in New York, but I work with people in different states because I guess everybody does.
Well, not everybody, but okay, you're in New York. So the law just changed in New York. You're still covered under your scope of practice. I wrote solid exemption language, but we, as non-licensed holistic nutrition professionals, nutrition consultants, board certified in holistic nutrition, whatever, we cannot reverse. That's outside of our scope of practice. We're going to lead you to a healthy outcome. We're going to guide you. You can work with the person's licensed provider. If they happen to reverse type 2 diabetes, working with you, taking your recommendations, changing their diet, changing their lifestyle, blessings. We know it happens. We just can't say, we do this, we did this, because that is what will get us in trouble.
Can we restore health?
We can not restore health. We can guide you. We can support you. If you want to talk through this, I'll walk you through your website and we'll come up with some suggestions.
Yeah, that would be great. And I have one more question because I've actually seen other people use the term functional medicine nutritionist. Can you say that?
No, you use the title that you've earned. If you go to the Institute of Functional Medicine, because you've got the correct degrees and you become licensed through IFM or certified through IFM,
Oh, I
then
see.
you can use that title. You can use the title that you've earned, but you did not, and I know I see it too. And if they're members of the NANP, trust me, I'm like, no, 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 no. But
Mhm.
there are people using titles all over the place. So we want to use the title that we've earned. We want to use the credential that we've earned to keep ourselves safe.
Okay, and so since I studied holistic nutrition, am I allowed to say holistic nutritionist?
No, you're not a holistic nutritionist.
Okay.
You can say you're a holistic nutrition professional, but you should be using your NC.
Okay.
Okay. But let's schedule an appointment. You'll send me an email. We'll schedule an appointment. We'll talk on the phone. I'll walk you through your website and I'm going to help you make those changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Sam. We have Sky, you have a question?
Yeah, well, my question initially might have been answered. It was about the states where because I want to use my board certification to help clients remotely. So I just wanted to be aware of like which states the practice was a bit controversial. And it's just basically a wording situation, right? Like you can't make any, promises. It's more of like suggestive help. It's how we have to phrase anything on like our websites or anything like that, right?
Yeah, just be super cautious with your website. Know that it's out there and people are going to see it. So, use your board certification when you're working with people in exclusive practice.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Um, if you're working with people in those exclusive scope of practice states, use the map, look up that state to make sure that there's nothing in that law that's going to say you can't work at all. Typically you can in almost every state now, Sky. So just look at the map. If you've got a question, shoot me an email and I will respond.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sky. Miss Pamela.
Thank you. I couldn't get off of mute. I just realized that well, let me back up. I use the Clean Life. I think it's a
Yeah.
okay.
Program.
That
Yeah.
Clean Life, yes, thank you. Sue tilted her head, so I thought I had said it wrong. um and I noticed that when I send the meal plans out, um and it directs, well, it says this is has been shared by Pam Grimmett, holistic nutrition consultant. And I know I didn't put holistic in there, but I think it's just they have set categories or set titles. So with all the talk you all were just doing about holistic this, holistic that, I'm just wondering if that's okay.
No, you're fine. It's coming from Clean Life, that Clean Life. And that's how they refer to us. You're a nutrition consultant, but because you're not a nutritionist or a dietitian, they're going to use holistic nutrition consultant. So you're okay there. You're still a nutrition consultant.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And let's see, thank you, Pam. And Liness. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Hi, is it Liness or Lenice?
Lenise, sorry about that. I'm at work.
That's okay.
I had a question, and basically, what if you're also working on other things at the same time, or already have other certifications? How would you kind of combine that in a sense to use with the nutrition consultant certification?
Okay, so it's going to depend on the type of certifications that you have, but you can certainly call those out. What other certifications do you have?
Right now I have herbalist and I did a small program, I think a couple years ago for like a detox specialist type of thing where it was a certification. I'm not necessarily sure if that one's recognized by anything. But I know the herbal one was a little bit different.
Yeah, you can certainly use your NC and then comma herbalist with whatever title is on your certificate of completion for the herbalist course. And that's
Yeah.
fine. I would leave the detox out.
Alrighty. I think that kind of answered it. It wouldn't, would I necessarily get it like, I don't want to say kind of get in trouble, but I guess get in trouble if I were, of course, I know wordplay is going to be the biggest thing in regards to that. But combining it and like for clients, or would it be more if the client is up for it? I don't know how to phrase the questions that I want to ask.
I would, if it's been a few years, I would really do some follow-on education and look for a really reputable program
Yeah.
before you use that terminology on your website or what have you. Detoxes, as you know, can go well or they can go
Yeah.
badly. So if we're not licensed providers, we do need to walk a very tight line there. So let's hold off on the detox
Yeah.
and then use the herbalist and your NC.
Okay. Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Yes.
Just keeping you safe.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lenice. And I think we have Lauren Burke.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, oh, evening, sorry.
I know it's evening here on the East Coast.
Yes. Um, so in terms of wordplay and all this jargon, everything about jargon, when you are choosing a business name. So for example, say my business was Spice and Soul Remedies. Would using remedies be a problem in the business name as a nutrition consultant or future nutrition consultant?
Yeah, that might raise a few eyebrows.
Okay.
So I would do a little wordplay there and try to find something else.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Are there any other questions out there?
I actually have a question, but I was having trouble finding the
We hear you.
okay. So thank you for the clarification. I find that the scope of practice really helps me to stay in line. And I just wanted, I guess this is more of like a clarifying question, because actually had this dilemma happen before. I worked in a clinical practice and they wanted us to use functional nutritionists. And I was like, I'm not qualified to use that terminology because I, as a neurodivergent person, studied the scope of practice from the NANP, and I understood what I was able to do and what I wasn't able to do at the undergraduate level, as well as the master level nutritionist that we had. So I ended up having to leave that practice. So I really want to thank you for the work that you're doing and supporting this profession and this field and helping us to stay in line. So my question, the clarifying question is, because I also went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition to study health coaching. But my understanding is that health coaching is more of the tool, like a modality. Like we use the coaching in our questioning, like similarly to like motivational interviewing questions that are utilized, that are employed in nutrition practice. So I guess my question is like, is that still okay so long as we're we're using the coaching as a tool, more of like the high mileage questions to support what we're already doing as nutrition consultants or holistic nutrition professionals. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. Thank you. And that's what I'm trying to point out. When we're working with somebody as a nutrition consultant, we are still falling back on those health coaching skills, the motivational interviewing, the coaching, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what sets us apart from a weekend course, from not a Bowman, but from, all of these little quick become a nutrition consultant in a month type thing. We are savvy, but we're going to use our motivational interviewing techniques. We're going to use health coaching that you have, but you're going to refer to yourself as a nutrition consultant. You're going to work up to the level of your education. So you're just not going to use the title health coach now. Does that make sense?
100%. And I wanted to kind of validate, I guess you're validating, I'm like processing what you're saying. But I wanted to validate what like everyone else, like I understand when I first came out of health coaching, I didn't really understand my scope of practice. And that was like many years ago. That was like in 2015. And so I loved how you pointed out that we utilize the titles of that we have, like I went to the Functional Nutrition Alliance, which is also a qualified school with the NANP. And so whenever I work with people, I say that I am a functional nutrition consultant or counselor, because I know it's used interchangeably. And I've actually consulted with an attorney on that. And my state in Texas was really more about they don't want you to say licensed dietitian or licensed nutritionist. And I just don't use the nutrition terminology because I find that it can be really confusing with the demographic or the niche of individuals that I work with, which are families that have children that are neurodivergent. It can be like really confusing. So I just stick to holistic resource specialists because that's what I specialize in, providing books, tools, and resources.
But use
again,
the title, use the title that you earned. Let them know you're a nutrition consultant, but
okay.
what you do. So you're a nutrition consultant, but your goal is to be a resource manager to
Okay.
help them get the resources they need to follow a healthier path.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we have Sandy. You have a question?
One more quick question for you,
Sure,
Laura.
Sandy.
Hi again.
Hi.
I looked here on the state website, and perhaps I'll take your email because I can't find anything in regards to that's leading me
I'll get
to
you. I'll
applying for
get
my
you there.
LLC.
You're a member of the NANP now?
I am, yes.
Okay, there's also some stuff on the NANP website. They've gone through they're going through a full remodel of the website. But Laura, write this down. Laura,
Okay,
come on, Sandy, pick up that pen. Here
I
we
got
go.
it.
Laura at
Mm-hmm.
ANP.org.
So that's Laura at ANP.org.
NA, National Association of Nutrition Professionals, NANP.org.
Got it.
At NANP.org.
Okay,
For
perfect.
So yeah, and I'll help you. I'll guide you through that.
Thank
Okay?
you.
No problem. Who else do we have, Sue? I know there's stuff in the chat, but I haven't looked at it.
Let's see what we have here. Emil Diaz says, I have a question. Emil, are you out there?
Hi, Emil, you still with us? we may have lost Emil.
We have a question here in the chat from Stacy. As an NC, can we say we can educate our clients on the scientifically proven underlying dietary and lifestyle contributions to the health concerns and give recommendations to address these? This is from Stacy.
Stacy, you can. That is absolutely fine because you're using the right words. You're using recommendations and suggestions. You can guide them as a nutrition consultant, but you cannot use those terms that are outside of our scope of practice. So it might be a little confusing for your clients if you say that. That's a mouthful, but you are legally within your scope. It may raise a few eyebrows out there. So
Thank you for that, Laura. I just want to make sure I'm actually one of the mentors for Bowman College, and I want to make sure I can guide my students into appropriate different types of language moving.
Yeah.
And I myself, I just moved to Florida, so from Colorado. So I'm experiencing a lot of differences.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences. Reach out to me if you've got questions.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. It looks like I'm just going down through some of the chats from the top here. You may have answered this. Are there things that health coaches can do that nutrition consultants can't do?
No. No, it's funny. I'm going to share a little story. So working trying to work with all the dietitians, what they'll say, this is something that the dietitians will say. Any dietitian is a dietitian, but a dietitian is also a nutritionist. So you can be a health coach and you can always be a health coach, or you can be a nutrition consultant and you can use what you've learned to also be a health coach. Because we do guide and we do support and we talk about lifestyles and we try to motivate our clients. So that is the core of health coaching. It's just that it's built into our program. And more importantly, because we're passionate about what we do, it's built into our persona.
Wonderful. I'm looking at this question from Michelle Funk. I'm located in Tennessee, an exclusive scope of practice state. Sorry, I'm laughing, but Tennessee. Considering it's one of the more restricted states, what is a nutrition consultant allowed to do or call themselves in an exclusive state?
You may still use your title nutrition consultant. It would be safer if you work towards your BCHN. I'm just going to be honest, in the exclusive scope of practice states, you want to work towards that. Don't change your title. Use the NC. But remember, in Tennessee, because it is an exclusive scope of practice state, you really want to keep your recommendations to very general in nature. And this is a time when you really want to say, this book provides recipes that you will enjoy, or this article you may find very helpful, or this study. Again, we've got to be super careful in Tennessee. It's on my plate for next year too. Which is why I said it's not going to be a one or two. I'm looking at Florida and Tennessee and Georgia again. So Florida. So it's going to be a busy session. So I may call on you guys.
And I think,
yes.
sorry, I think we pronounce it Emily has popped back up. If they just want, they wrote their question in the chat. Can I include my MA credential from California?
Which MA?
Emily, can you unmute and
yes,
elaborate?
medical assisting I have been previously like a certified medical assistant from the State Board of California, but my certification already expired. But right now I have a medical assisting diploma from SRJC.
Okay, that's gonna go over the line. So
Mhm.
since your medical assistant has expired,
Yes.
you're not gonna want to use that, but you can certainly use your NC.
Okay, sounds good. One other question, maybe for the future, so will the Bauman College courses count as continuing education for medical assisting in California? I'm just kind of curious. So,
Interesting.
I was like, different state laws, right? It's different.
That's outside of my scope of practice. I have
Okay.
no idea what the board is going to approve or disapprove. You'll have to look at the medical assistant
Okay.
board at the Board of Health for California to determine what they'll accept and what they won't.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Emil.
Yeah.
We have a comment here, and I was just wondering what your response to this comment. It's such a shame that we have to be so careful about what we say and how we help people. We are not the enemy. I mean, I get that.
I get that too.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm working to help. My goal is to get rid of the map altogether. I don't want a map. I want holistic nutrition professionals, nutrition consultants to work within our scope of practice in every state. And that is what I'm working towards, so that, you know, even at the federal level, they'll recognize that we play an important role in the health of Americans.
Thank you. It looks like we have one last question because we're already over our time and I don't want to keep Miss Laura waiting here. We have here, I'm in a restriction-free state, Arizona, but will it benefit me to get the BCHN to gain merit with clients in other states that are restricted? Where can I go to clarify, question number 2, where can I go to clarify financial tax laws regarding working with distance clients?
You're gonna have to check with your CPA. So that is something that I cannot help you with. So you're gonna have to work with a CPA and determine how that's going to work in your state. Arizona is not terribly restricted right now, but things change. And I was working to make sure that our scope of practice was solidified in the state of Arizona, because the last couple of years they've had legislation.
Thank you. As we conclude our webinar today, I'm just so honored and always just have such respect for you, Laura. I mean, I don't know how often I talk to you, and kind of scary, but I'm really glad that I have that opportunity to have such good communication with you. But thank you so very, very much for being here today and really to answer a lot of questions that we've had. One last thing. If you could just let us know one thing in the future, do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see something that's really going to help us out as nutrition consultants?
I am the proverbial optimist. I always see light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, I would not be doing this. This is not the kind of thing you want to do if you're pessimistic. Trust me. There are many nights when I lick my wounds and my husband says it's gonna be okay. But I do see a path forward. You guys, if you're working within your scope of practice, go out there, make a difference, because we're seeing it not just at the state level, we're seeing it at the federal level now, we're seeing it in NIH, we're seeing it through the dietitians becoming more amenable to our scope of practice. We're crossing the boundaries. We're making an impact, and they know, other organizations know that we're making an impact. So I would say, keep your head up, go forth, prosper. If you're a member of the NANP and you've got some questions, certainly just email me. We'll schedule time. I'll answer your questions via email, or I'm just going to pick up the old-fashioned telephone and we'll have a conversation. But keep
Thank you,
doing what
Laura.
you're doing. Make those people feel great.
We can do it. We
Good.
can do it. That's why we're here, and that's why everyone at Bowman College is just so phenomenal to see what we're doing. And thank you again so much. And I want to just tell everybody that next month we have Nicole Hudson's going to be here August the 7th or the 10th. I can't remember. Let me take a quick look. August the 7th. Thursday at 2 o'clock, I will be sending out reminders. And if anybody's interested in that, she's going to be talking about the benefits of joining NANP and becoming board certified. So I really do hope that we can all meet again for that webinar. And thank you again so much, you guys. Thank everybody for being here. I really do appreciate you guys. There is a recording. If you do want a copy of the recording, give me a day to get it all together, and send me an email. I put my email in the chat, durans@nhi.edu. And that's it, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Bev.
Bye.
Sneak that in.
I don't know who that was.
It
That
was
was
me.
Laura.
It was Laura.